Hey, rifle hunters, if you've ever wanted to extend your hunting season, get more time afield, archery is the obvious answer. Delighted because I was once again hunting in the rut. Most of my rifle seasons are after the rut, and I just enjoy all the activity. I enjoy rattling and grunting and all that fun stuff. And the bow seasons usually let you do that. So I picked up a crossbow. Most of us, at least guys my age, we grew up thinking crossbows were sort of unfair. Just this wasn't our real deal. And I will agree that it's not real archery. But I will also state that wheel bows are not really archery. I mean, you can go back as far as you want with this argument. Long bows, recurve bows, compound bows, and now crossbows. But in just practical matters is if you want to get into the bow hunting or hunting a deer with an arrow, call it what you want, a crossbow is definitely the easiest way to do it. Now they're fairly complicated, heavy, and clumsy instruments. I've been saying this is the clumsiest tool I have ever used for deer hunting, aside from a truck. You don't want to take one with your truck. But it makes it so easy to put an arrow on target accurately. I was really amazed by it. And this particular bow is kind of a top of the line, the latest and greatest technology. And what it does is combines the style of a rifle. You've got your stock, you're aiming it as you would a rifle, plus a scope, which really helps. And the scope adjusts so that there are reticles inside that relate to the target distance. You've got a 20-yard line, a 30, a 40, a 50, a 60, a 70, 80, 90, and 100. I've never tried 100. I think I've gone up as much as 70. But when you get the scope adjusted properly, you are then able to select that specific line or sub-reticle to hold on your target, and you can expect to hit it. And I'm absolutely amazed at how accurate this thing is. I am dropping it into about a 2-inch target out to 70 yards. Now you've got to know the exact distance, and I have a rangefinder for that. So that combination just makes it so easy to shoot accurately. I've shot 2 times at 2 bucks and bagged both of them in the last 3 years. Gone hunting 2 times for it. Out where I am in Idaho, you can't take a crossbow. I don't even know if it's legal during a rifle season, but there's no extra season, so I'm hunting with a rifle, mule deer country anyway. But boy, when I come back to the Midwest for whitetails in the bow season, recently did a hunt in Kansas, had a buck come by at 20 yards, slam dunk, and before I could line up and get my shot, it turned and walked right toward me, and my shot came at 12 yards. I could have probably just taken the arrow and stuck him. He was that close. But I am prepared to shoot as far as 70 yards, and if I practice, I'm sure I could do 100 under ideal conditions. So the point being, if you want to get into archery hunting and hunt that exciting rut season before the rifle season's open, this is the way to do it. And what I want to do in this video is give you some pointers on how these crossbows work. Now there's several different kinds out there. The simpler ones just have the good old-fashioned bow arcing out across the front of the stock, and you pull it back manually. It's kind of the original, a little bit difficult. Then they designed cranks to crank them up, and then they started going with a combination of compound bow wheels on the limbs, and this one even has its limbs backwards. These things cramp together this way and then fling out that way instead of going out this way. All sorts of ways to do it. It's just amazing what they've designed. So let me demonstrate how you will cock this thing. You've got kind of a trigger hold here that grabs the string and pulls it back to lock it in. And you do that with a crank, and that is located down here underneath the what you would call a butt stock. And you extend it for a little more leverage when you crank it up. So I will insert it and begin turning, and you will see the string come back. I'll do a little bit before it gets too hard so that you can see that coming back. And then I'll do it the proper way. I'll have to stand up for this one. But put that rubber bumper down on your toe, hold it by the butt like this, and then you can turn pretty quickly if the arrows in the quiver don't get in your way. But see that sliding up now? Holding it, I call it, oh gosh, they've got an official name for all this stuff, guys. I'm no expert. You hear that click? That click right there says that it is hooked, it is locked in. So now I back this off 3 times, and each bow will give you the instructions on how to do this stuff. And now it is cocked, as you can see. It's pretty slim across here, and these limbs are going to go that way to throw the arrow out. So I will now be able to put an arrow aboard, cock feather down into a little channel or groove, and I push it back inside, and this is now a deadly, deadly tool ready to fire. There's a safety here on the side, and all I have to do is pull the trigger when I've lined things up. Pop the caps on my scope, look at my distance and go, that's only about 10 yards away. I'm going to back up a bit here, very carefully. I'm going to guess this at about, I'm going to guess it at about 15 yards, 15, 20 range. So I'll probably shoot 2 to 3 inches high. I'm going to kneel to be a little bit steadier here, and use my center on that target. Wish I had a camera down there, but it'll shoot right through that, no problem. But here's my safety now. Reach up with my thumb, click off the safety, and there's our arrow in the target. Let's run down there and look at that, guys. I'll show you where I was holding and where the strike hit. So my aim point was right where this little rootlet comes across. So it's about an inch, inch and a half low. Deer's chest, bingo, you're right in there. Pretty short bolt. I guess the technical term is bolt instead of arrow when you're using a crossbow. But now I think I'll just stop right here and show you how do you reload. Well, you once again pop it down. Oops, I forgot to replace my crank. So we've got to go back to the crank, guys. Here's our crank. As you can tell with my smooth delivery here, I have been doing this for 2 hunts. So now I've got to get the release up here, or the device that grabs the string, the bow string. I've got to get it down. So what this bow requires is you push this button and that loosens it. And now I can run it down. Get this cap out of the way here. Should slide right on down. And now I push with this little handle knob forward, and it clicks to lock onto the bowstring. So now I just have to crank it back. And I will show you another neat feature of this bow as soon as I turn this up. And that is you can decock it with a crank handle. On a lot of crossbows, and once you've loaded it, you have to pull the trigger and shoot the arrow to unload it. With this particular style, I can tighten it, push that forward to release, and I can back wind it to let the pressure off. So you don't have to shoot your arrows into the bank or find a target to shoot at the end of a hunt to unload. But now I want to shoot again, so I'm going to crank it up for you guys. And you can see the limbs coming together as I tighten and I crank. And you've got all the advantages, the kinetic energy advantages and the mechanical advantages of those cams, the same as you do on a traditional compound bow. As I said, this is really well engineered and fairly complicated. So I take the pressure off of the crank, and I would properly store this in the handle. This is how you store when you're hunting. So it handles it quite nicely. Now, I want to do is step this off to get an accurate distance. In fact, guys, hang in there. I'm going to get a binocular and get a rangefinder reading on this so we're accurate. I'll be right back. Hey guys, got to show you my knives of Alaska. I just got back from 2 hunts in which I used this knife to fully butcher and cut up deer. I took, first of all, a mule deer buck, and I gutted it, skinned it, and boned it, and took it home. Did not sharpen the knife. Went hunting for whitetails, shot one, again, skinned it, boned it, did not sharpen the knife, and I was still sliding right through the hide on deer with that knife, cutting up the meat afterwards, boning it the whole bit. And it was remarkably good at holding an edge. I did eventually have to sharpen it, of course, but I was pretty impressed with it. Magna cut steel. This knife, I think, is just about the right size, so I've put my name on it. Knives of Alaska is selling the Classic Hunter with Ron Spomer Outdoors, hunt on it, shoot straight on it. If you order before Christmas, you will get free shipping. And if this is the first knife you've ever ordered through Ron Spomer Outdoors at Knives of Alaska, you will also get 10% off. So a good deal for Christmas. It has a fiberglass G10 handle. There's lots of different fibers and stuff in there. It's impervious to weather, hard, durable. It's got good friction on it, so it's great when you're getting wet while you're working. It's got jimping on top of the blade, and it'll really hold an edge well. Magna cut steel, and has something really special. You get your own serial number. You will be the only person with that particular serial number. So this is serial number 1. You can't have that one. But order quickly and you might get number 2 or 20. I'm not sure how many have gone out the door yet, but I highly recommend it. Knives of Alaska, the Classic Hunter. All right, guys, I have recocked. I'm going to place my arrow in the channel. Slide it into position. Always keep your fingers above and in front. Don't get your finger in front of the broadhead or the arrow at any point. If it goes off, you want to just be on the top of it. It's kind of scary the first time you do this, really. Now I am ready to shoot. I've moved back to 40 yards to show you how accurately this thing can shoot if I do my part. So we've got our target down there at 40. I'm just going to aim sort of for the center of the target, and I'm going to use my 40-yard pin, which is the second option down. So off goes the safety. I try to hold steadily for the middle, and here we go. I think it's worth going down there to look at that. So let's take a quick run, guys. I'm kind of thinking that's pretty close to the center of my deer's target right here. But that's how easily one can start shooting arrows or bolts out of a crossbow. So now we can go back farther. I think we'll probably go to 60 yards and see what we can do there. All right, guys, I'm back at 60 measured yards from that target. And again, we're going to take off the handle that's riding there in the buttstock, extend it, place it in, and got to let the string grabber, I know all these technical terms so well, push that button so it'll go down. And now I can spin that baby down. Keep your hands underneath all of this apparatus, all these cables and strings. If you get your fingers up there when it goes off, you could very easily tear one off, I would think. So they've got a nice platform up underneath to hold and a bit of a shelf that helps prevent your fingers from getting up into the working mechanism. See how that is? So you're always holding here. And they even say on the sides, danger, keep entire hands below. Like I say, it's kind of scary the first time you shoot these things. White cock feather down into the channel. And I'm keeping my fingers atop the arrow as I slide it in, just in case there's an accidental release. All looks good. The arrow stays on, by the way, pretty nicely. So you can carry it without dropping the arrow off. Now all I have to do is push off safety and fire. Ooh, now I've got a bit of a wind, so I'm gonna have to compensate for that. And I'm using my 60-yard pin. Safety is off. Safety, ready to fire. It's like I shot about 3 inches high and 1 to the left. So I'm gonna try another one. I was compensating for wind, but I may have overdone it. Something else one must learn. So obviously you're going to make your first shot count because you're not going to get a second shot. So I tighten it, and then the release button, and I can start backing it off. A few cranks, and now push it forward, and the weight of the unit will pull it down. And guys, I apologize for not knowing the official terms of all these parts. I'm not an expert on crossbows, duh. But it's just to give you an idea of how you can easily, as a rifle hunter, figure this stuff out. Now it's not quite locking in. I think I need to give it one more crank. There, I heard it click. And I see that the safety button has come back to the white. That's what you need to see. Now I can crank it. My binocular getting in the way. And my arrow's getting in the way. Click, good. 1, 2, 3, remove, replace. Ready to go again. Now Steve, my buddy Steve and I hunted Kansas with this last week and just had a blast because the rut was on, just what we wanted, and the bucks were chasing the does and fighting and rubbing posts and all that fun stuff that I just don't get to see during most rifle seasons. Another 60-yard shot, safety's off, 60-yard pin. Right beside the other arrow. So let's walk down there, guys, and wrap this thing up. All right, guys, there you have it. 60 yards. I know there are a lot of real bow hunters out there who can shoot that well, but I was never one of them, especially not at 60 yards. And I could extend this, but you get the idea. It's just pretty easy to adopt or adapt a crossbow if you're already a rifle hunter. Same basic technique, aim and shoot. So you might want to look into one. There are plenty of them out there. Check out and see if your state allows crossbows during the regular archery season, or if you can have a separate season. If you need another deer or want to hunt a deer for several more weeks, this is a great way to do it. And what I would do if I were in a good whitetail state and had access to ground at any time and had the time to put in, I would look for a really big buck with my bow. Just hold off, knowing that when rifle season came, you could easily get your meat deer. But if you have a big family and you need 2 deer, there's another option. But boy, during that rut, it's a lot easier to find and kill a big buck with a bow than a rifle in most places because of the season dates. So that's it, crossbows. This, by the way, is a 10-point Nitro 505, and it is capable of pushing these bolts 505 feet per second. Each bow is slightly different, so you have to measure their velocity, and then you adjust your scope to match up to that so you get the right drops and drifts. This one's off by just a smidgen, as you can see by those 30-yard holes. I was a little bit high yet, so I could tweak that, but that's vital zone on a deer, so I'm pretty happy. That's it for now, guys. Ron Spomer, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hunt honest and shoot straight.